Welcome back to the channel. A lot to unpack, a lot to talk about this week. And this week we've been getting a couple of inquiries over the last little while from move-up buyers, those potential buyers that were looking at getting into a larger home as their family grows, as well as we've been getting a lot of questions from agents about clients that are looking to get into the market for the first time. We have a lot of those individuals reaching out to us, looking for information, obviously asking the question, what should I do? Should I buy now? And although that question is very difficult to answer, and once again, we're not here to tell people what to do, but once again, there are people that are in different stages of their life. There's different requirements that people have, and a lot of the people that are approaching us are already making that decision to move ahead with a pre-approval or explore their options to buy. What I want to do this week is actually assist those that are watching to say, hey, what are some of the things that we should be paying attention to if I want to buy in 2026? So once again, thanks for stopping by. If you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell. Don't forget to leave your thoughts, questions, and concerns in the comment section below. Let's get right into it. So by now, there's a lot of news outlets. There's a lot of conversations from other famous YouTubers, obviously talking about the mortgage industry. There's a lot of real estate conversations about home prices. And as we know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out home prices are obviously down starting 2026. And they've obviously been on a steady decline depending on the areas, the pockets that you're looking at. And obviously there's been a lot of headwinds in the condo space. But once again, this negativity has pushed some potential buyers, some people that were on the sidelines for a very long time back into the market or to start thinking about their options. Now, once again, this is not a video to sit there and say, hey, we want to entice you to go back into the market, or hey, look at all this stuff that you could be getting. No, that's not the purpose of the video. The purpose of the video is for those that are already minds are set to go out there and buy. They're approaching their banks, their lenders, their brokers to find out, get a pre-approval. We want to help you with that information. So what do you really need to pay attention to? There's two different segments here. Obviously, there's your move-up buyer, which implies that you have an existing home that you potentially need to sell. Now, for this particular buyer pool, it's super important to look at your numbers and obviously have an understanding of what your home could be selling for today as opposed to 3, 4, 6 months from now. If we continue to see the market pull back, that means your potential sale price may change. And once again, this is super important, especially if you don't have additional support for down payment, a gifted portion coming from family. If you're solely dependent on the sale price of the home, you have to work with the worst case scenario. And we're doing that with a lot of clients. We're saying, hey, they've engaged an agent to start the process. What's the worst case scenario that they can sell for now? Do we take a haircut of another 10% off of that? I mean, this is literally the analysis that we are doing with our clients to help them understand what they can afford if they were to move forward. Because once again, for some buyers in this market, we're telling them, look, if you don't have the support, you need to sell before you buy. You'll find an opportunity to buy, but you may be sitting on the market for an extended period of time. And the last thing that you really want is, if you're buying a place, is to have not sold your home, approach that closing and not qualify for a bridge or some additional form of financing because you haven't firmly sold your existing property, the other property. You can't get a bridge unless you have a firm purchase and a firm sale. So obviously that is one set. Now you have the move-up buyers, and those are the ones that we're looking at right now and saying, hey, what do they qualify for? A lot of them may have not been in the market back in the heydays of just a few years ago when everything was going crazy. They may have parked themselves, they saved their down payment, they were renting. I mean, ultimately right now what we're finding from a lot of these individuals is that some of their landlords might be selling their existing unit and they've been offered the opportunity to maybe consider purchasing it, and ultimately at a discount, obviously maybe not involving real estate commissions. There are some that are maybe using a realtor to buffer that deal. There are different scenarios, and ultimately what you need to look at is what the qualifications are right now. And obviously a lot of these condos, some of these homes in certain pockets have come down significantly. So number one, if you haven't had a pre-approval done in the last little while and you're thinking you're on the fence, it doesn't hurt to get a pre-approval just to understand your limits and your thresholds. if you're planning to do that, ultimately getting a pre-approval and understanding what it is that you're about to embark on. And that also implies for both either move-up buyers and new buyers, is understanding that it's not just about the mortgage. The cost of living in Canada has gone up. You need to really factor in your employment. You need to really take a deep consideration, say, is my job really safe? And do I have a job? Can I afford to maintain this place if either myself, obviously if you're one individual, you lose your job, it's going to be very difficult unless you have support from family. But if you are with a partner, a spouse, someone else, significant other, buying this unit to live in, can you manage to stay afloat for the next little while until you find another job? And if you can find another job, and though unemployment in Canada has slid down a little bit, ultimately we have a lot of uncertainty ahead of us. And that may move the needle for you if you're thinking about moving up or buying for the first time, to hold off a little bit. Some don't have that luxury. They need to move. Their landlord's selling their property. They have a growing family. They can't find a place that they need to move into a larger home. They have the down payment. There are so many different circumstances. There's some clients that unfortunately the parents have passed away. They've left the inheritance to them. Now they're going to utilize that money to purchase a home, and ultimately they're weighing out the options. They've already come to us with the decision to purchase the home. We're not telling them to go out there and buy, right? We're always telling, what has caused you to think about buying? Have you contemplated the rent versus own? Have you thought about what your down payment, in this particular case with inheritance, would net you if you were to put that to work in another vehicle, like the stock market, for example, another savings vehicle? You know, ultimately understanding all those options is super, super important. And if you have questions about your opportunities, you want to have a chat and think about the options that are ahead of you, feel free to reach out to a mortgage professional. You can reach out to us here at In Touch Mortgage Solutions. We're always happy to help. Lend an ear, have a chat. Our information is in the description box below. But once again, if you know someone that can benefit from this content, or they're maybe contemplating whether to buy now or wait, ultimately the idea here is that I can't answer that question. Only you can answer that question. The best way to understand if you should be buying now or if you're able to buy now is to find out if you're qualified by getting a pre-approval, and that is generally the best way to understand what you can and cannot do. So we'll leave the video here, wishing everyone a wonderful weekend and have yourself a great day. We'll all see you next week.